Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I wanted to take it a little bit more of a serious note and talk about some of the stuff that's going on the big picture of the world. Now, we obviously know everything that's happening with Russia. I didn't want to get into that specifically. I want to talk about the prices of commodities and how they're actually rising significantly. I believe that the next 10 years is going to be a very trying period where the majority of the average person gets priced out of almost everything. I wanted to share with you guys some charts on why I actually think that's so and explain how we can go about having a long-term plan on how to be doing this the right way. If you're new and just find this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys join the Discord server or download my free ebook. Links are going to be provided for you in the description for that. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. And with that being said, let's jump right into it today. Now, you guys already know that I'm bullish on crypto, and I firmly believe that we're going to see a massive move coming, even though our most recent move to the upside immediately got resulted in downside pressure. I don't think it necessarily matters because, honestly, we remember exactly what this period of time was like over here. And I've copied this exact point, and I've gone ahead and put it right there. And we're going to talk about what we could potentially see, to close out things, and really just talk about why I believe that commodities are going to see such a big move and why it's ultimately going to drag crypto up with it. Now, we obviously know crypto's been showing weakness, and when I've always been talking about how we'd see the blow off top taking place at the end of the year, we didn't see that. The end of the year came, and we've only seen a downtrend taking place. In fact, pretty much since 2021, I mean, you could really just go for pretty much the last year worth of consolidation has been this. We've just been going through a lot of choppy sideways action. And so because of the fact it's gone past the 4-year cycle, because it's invalidated that trading plan, there's been so many different people out there that have just been kind of angry for the most part. And I can understand why. I mean, when you go through a year-long correction and your portfolio keeps going down, your altcoins you're holding keep going down, and they make lower lows, lower highs, all the way down, down, down. And you watch as all of your profit is evaporated that you used to have, during this peak or even over here during this peak. But the thing to understand here, guys, is the reason people are so angry and upset is because they don't actually feel confident enough to hold their assets or at least believe that their assets are going to go up again. And so they have to take out that anger somewhere else. They're projecting the anger, at anybody else. And so for me, being an influencer on crypto, I see a lot of it in my comments. And so I'm not even calling that out necessarily that I'm upset with it. But when I see this stuff, I'm telling you guys right now, I've been through a number of these cycles, and I've been through a couple since I've had the YouTube channel, and I've been able to have a community behind me, and I've been able to see how people react in the comments section. Now, you guys already know I'm a big advocate towards the emotional psychology of market cycles. I believe that markets move because emotions. It's always humans that have money that are invested, and it's us being overly emotional that's why the markets move, basically. And so during this period, we've seen a lot of overly emotional people that were overly invested, that didn't take enough profits, and that are angry that they didn't take enough profits as the market's starting to go down. And so what I'm noticing is like 80+% of the comments in my YouTube section are just really angry people. And every single time this has ever happened, it's always before a reversal point inside the market. Even during the bear market, guys, when Bitcoin sold off over here, when we had this massive blow off top, even when Bitcoin sold off and we had this, 60-50% type of move, it was a 70% swing right to the downside. There was a lot of people that were still way more optimistic throughout this period of time, and they didn't start flipping bearish until the bottom. And that's just the way that the market works. And I'm not signaling anybody out specifically. I'm not saying that all of my followers are this way. I'm just saying that the most emotional people that are willing to just, criticize you, talk so badly about you, those are going to be the same people that are usually making the mistakes in both ways. They're usually the people selling the panic, and they're usually the people buying the greed on the way up. But honestly, guys, once I believe this materializes, this bottom, I firmly believe this is the move that's coming. Keep in mind, this is the crypto total market cap, and where I've told you guys based off of my Fibonacci targets, we're anywhere from basically 10 to 12 trillion. And so that's pretty much this cycle here. And I think we could still go through a month or two, most likely probably a month, I would expect to see somewhat of a resolution, whether it's going to be on the downside or the upside. I would expect resolution. I still think that we could see a little bit more of consolidation here that does last a month, but I honestly think that this is going to resolve similarly to what we saw over here. We saw 3 months worth of sideways downward action, and then we saw immediate bounce up. I would expect that this will ultimately resolve the same way. And when we do find that bottom, it'll end up playing out like this to some degree. I don't know exactly what it'll look like, but I'm telling you guys that this is a wave 3, wave 4 consolidation. And what we're inside of one of the biggest markets inside of the world, being cryptocurrency, starting to take off, starting to mature. Even though it's more of a risk asset, it's following equities, not really following commodities so much. What we saw earlier in the year of March of 2020, when gold first broke out, it actually led the markets. All of the markets crashed March of 2020 when COVID happened, and then gold actually started to take off really quick after that crash. It led the markets. And then shortly after the commodities leading, we actually saw equities take off as well. And so I do think we're going to see the same thing again today. And the reason why is because when we look at the prices of commodities specifically, we're seeing them really starting to take off. Gold just retested its previous all-time high. Pretty much, it wasn't the exact all-time high, but it retested this previous all-time high, and now we're about to go into price discovery. This is where we're ultimately going to see gold go past $3,000 per ounce. In my opinion, that's going to be our next target, and it's really going to start to take off in a big way. We went through this long consolidation, a consolidation that was past another previous all-time high of a very long market cycle. I think that this one's really setting up to have a big rise in price. Now, another market cycle I wanted to share with you guys is actually the price of lumber. And these are charts I don't talk about a lot on this channel, but I think it's very important to talk about them because we're really entering a point inside of society where almost every single person, including myself potentially, I'm not exactly sure, honestly, we could all get priced out of basic necessities. And, this is the chart of lumber. And I'm sharing with you guys this chart because this thing literally looks like one of the most bullish charts I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's really scary. It's not a good thing that we're seeing the price of lumber about to take off in this extreme way because almost everybody's about to get priced out. I mean, if you bought a house throughout this period of time, your house is going to become extremely, worth a lot of money, but at what cost? Because our dollars are going to be worth completely nothing. And that's what we're seeing right now, guys. We're literally seeing the decay of the dollar. And we've seen that since the 1970s. That's exactly when all of these charts start. And that's when all of these start uptrending. It's when the dollar starts becoming worthless. Look at the beginning of the gold chart pretty much. Back down in here. 1970s is when this thing actually started taking off. And so that's pretty much correlated along with everything else. But now with all of this stimulation, but now with all of the stimulus that we've had injected into the markets, this is where we're going to start to see things take off in a bad way. We're going to see a lot of the values of lumber, of oil, of gold, of things of that nature take off. And one of the charts I wanted to compare this to that, in my opinion, it looks the most alike, is actually the price of Tesla. Do you guys remember when Tesla went through this long period of consolidation? And then we had COVID, the markets crashed, and then Tesla went on this massive parabolic run. And that's pretty much what Tesla has been doing ever since. And what it reminds me of, almost exactly the same, not in a good way once again, this looks just like where lumber is today. Where lumber went through this period of consolidation. In fact, the lumber consolidation is way longer. This is from the 1970s, guys. This is basically as long as my dad's been alive. A little bit longer than my dad's been alive, as long as this chart's been consolidating, and it's now breaking out. And so I wanted to share with you guys this stuff because I don't think that the next 5 to 10 years are going to be a very good time for really anybody because, if you're a rich person and you make a lot of money, your whole entire family is going to be poor and not going to be able to provide for themselves, most likely. I mean, unless your entire family's wealthy, then you're going to be good. But I mean, my family's not extremely wealthy. Most people's families aren't extremely wealthy. I mean, I've done really well for myself, but when I look at the prices of this stuff, I start to realize that, I really haven't done as well as I thought. And inflation is so high that, I could have made, a few $1 million, but when the price of one, basic house becomes worth $1 million, I mean, realistically, you're not up that much, right? And so I think that that's going to be a big thing that people aren't realizing is the valuations of what we've seen. A lot of it has to do with just the fact that the dollar is becoming worthless. And I've talked about that a lot in, my old videos. As crypto took off, I started focusing on that a lot more. But when March of 2020 happened, all of the markets tanked. Crypto really wasn't at new all-time highs. I covered the commodity markets quite a lot, and I'm going to go back into doing that because I think it's a really important time in our history because we're really at a point where we're all just going to pretty much, I don't know, not have anything. I always like to believe that I'd be super wealthy and, things would just keep going. But I'm a realist, and when I look at the charts of these things, I don't see a good thing out of this. I mean, look at the price of wheat. Wheat is literally one of the most bullish looking charts I've ever seen. If I saw a crypto like this, I would have bought it so fast. I would have put so much money into this crypto because I knew it would have been so bullish. This looks a lot like many of the early altcoins right before, they just make a big parabolic top. And that's kind of what I think we're going in for, not just for crypto, but the entire world. And I think crypto, is going to happen shorter. These are going to take a lot longer period of time to happen because this is a longer period of time worth of consolidation, right? I'm on a 2-month chart right now. So it's going to be a little bit different than what we're seeing inside of crypto. Crypto will have a blow off top, but we're going to progressively see things get more and more expensive to where even just food is so expensive. And, it puts it into perspective. We've seen billionaires like Bill Gates and how he's bought like 40% of all of the farmland in America, and then all of a sudden we're seeing all of this stuff take place. But it's just so weird to me how all of these rich people, will come out and they'll make videos talking about these things, talking about epidemics and why we need to prepare for them, and pandemics and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, 4 years down the line, all of this stuff happens. And then all of a sudden you look at these billionaires and they're so perfectly positioned where they've bought all of this land and they've bought all of this, stock in these different companies that, none of us know about, but all of a sudden they blow up in a big way. And it's because these people pretty much just run the world. And what I've noticed with crypto specifically, crypto is, it's not anonymous. It's not going to really help anything big picture. I used to believe it would. I really was a firm believer in cryptocurrency, and I think short term it does possess a lot of value. And it will help a lot of people in other countries that need it and being connected to banks. But I mean, realistically, guys, banks are not good in the history of things. Banks have caused a lot of corruption. And crypto specifically, it's completely public. You can track all of that stuff. If I'm a government, I can see every transaction that's going on in the history of transactions. And so I don't think that the history, or what I should say, the long term is going to look good when everybody gets priced out of common goods, being wheat, being corn. I mean, look at these guys. They all look the same. It's all market cycles that are about to go parabolic. This is the price of soybean. This is the price of oil. I drew this chart way back down here when oil actually went to negative 40 cents a barrel. And I drew this and I pointed this happening into wave 3, and it's pretty much followed. In fact, it's happened even quicker than I drew out. And that's kind of a scary thing because I thought that this was even too quick how I drew out. And so honestly, guys, I don't think people are putting into perspective how hard basic life is going to be, especially where I live. I live in a rural area. I mean, I think about what people are going to be going through when oil is worth $250, even just $200 a barrel. People are going to be priced out. Oil and gas prices are already really expensive, and we're not even past all-time highs. Yeah, we're pretty close to them, and we will be soon. But I mean, this is about to get a lot worse before it gets better. And so for today's video, this is pretty much it. I just wanted to put things into perspective for you guys. I mean, kind of a negative video for the most part, but I mean, I just started looking at these charts and it kind of scared me because I just realized that pretty much everything I've worked for, I've realized early on. I mean, when I was broke, one of the things I used to do, I used to pray, and I used to pray and ask God, basically, please allow me to make a lot of money so that when stuff happens, like I think it's going to happen when the world starts falling apart, I just want to have enough money that I can actually take care of my family. That was my big thing. That's really all I cared about. And, I kind of forgot about that over the last couple of years. I forgot about those early days when I was actually really poor and broke and really was praying to God and just wanting money just so I had enough money to help my family. And it was really in those humble times where when you make all of that money, you kind of forget about that stuff and you start to focus on other things, focus on running a business, you focus on, diversifying your money in other places, and pretty soon you've just got this brand new job over things and you forgot kind of where you came from. And so when I've came to look at all of the prices of commodities and whatnot, it's kind of put into the big picture, and it's kind of once again humbled me in that same regard where I'm remembering early on why I started all of this mission and why I had these goals to make the money. And it was always just for the betterment of my family, just so when things happened like I thought they were, when basic necessities like food starts to go so expensive that most of us can't even afford that, to where, working an everyday job, even a high-paying job of $100,000 per year, isn't even hardly enough to support your family, which already is kind of at that point. It's going to get worse. And this is, I think that this is ultimately why we need to have money. And it's important to remember our goals, reflect on those things. For me personally, no matter what you guys are doing out there, I'm going to be using my money to help my family, because I honestly think some crazy things are going to be taking place. And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to come here and spread FUD, spread fear or anything like that. I'm just being a realist in what I see. I mean, this is the real potential of what we're facing right here, where basic food prices, housing prices, and other prices of things like that. And I could go through, and I will do more research into commodity prices. This is what's going to be taking place. And I just want you guys to be prepared. I want you guys to be aware of this. I want you guys to, just focus on this and remember that it's important to have a plan for when this actually happens. Maybe it's important to have some food storage saved up. I personally believe that. A lot of people I grow up with out here in Utah, Mormon people, they're really into that type of stuff. So my whole life I've been really cultured into that anyways. And I think that we're really seeing that right now. If you live in a city, you're kind of just screwed. I mean, you're not going to live and survive in a city. Even if you survive and have a bunch of food storage in a big city, there's just going to be a million people that come and steal it from you. So, realistically, there's no good way to prepare. Even if you live clear out in the country, I mean, your resources are going to be depleted really quick. There's still going to be people starving. Even if you have a community of people, things are going to get tough. I mean, there's no real easy solution to any of this besides, prepare the best you can, have food, have water, have medicine, have antibiotics and things of that nature. Because I'm telling you guys right now, pretty soon it's going to get to the point where most of us probably won't be able to afford those things. So I'm just saying, stock up, prepare, because it's actually going to get pretty bad. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I just wanted to cover things in my perspective, what I see taking place inside the commodity markets. Kind of a negative video, but, this is just what I see. I wanted to be real with you guys. I wanted to keep it real because, this is how I'm personally viewing things and how I'm going to be preparing for myself. If you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Download my free ebook, download the Discord server, join all of that community. You guys can also join my VIP groups if you'd like to. Thank you guys so much for the support. I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.